Yo, what is up, guys? SDFC Bros coming back at you with another match review. Carlos, not only is it, kind of starting to become summertime in San Diego.
Definitely.
But again, the wins just keep coming, right? We, kind of went, with, 3 L's in a row. But, now it seems we're back to winning ways. 5-0 against FC Dallas. Now we beat St. Louis again. How are we feeling?
Great, man. We just keep them coming. I don't want to talk too early. That's what we came. What happened in the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really solid with this team so far, and we took those 3 losses and we're coming back.
Yeah.
It's a long season, like we talked about, and we're back in 4th place. So.
Yeah, it's feeling good. Summertime in San Diego. It's getting a little warmer now, so the sun's coming out. So
Right.
It's just feeling good.
These games are going to feel better.
Yeah, the games are feeling better. But guys, if you guys are new here, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at SDFC Bros. Obviously, that is our main source of everything SDFC Bros. And also check us out on TikTok, which kind of put some, occasional stuff on there as well. So make sure you guys check us out on there. And yeah, I just want to dive into this because I'm excited for this one, because this, at face value, kind of looked like a boring game, but for me, this was kind of a very intriguing game because it was very tactical.
Right.
Those are the type of games that I like. So
just your cup of tea, for sure.
Right, this was my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Right, this was my cup of tea. So the first time we played St. Louis, right, back at home, right, our very first inaugural home game, it ended 0-0. So it's kind of a bummer, right, for that first home game. But in this one, it was much different. We were away for this one, and this time the watch party was at Novo in Mission Valley, right by the team store. And the last time we were at Novo was the expansion draft.
Exactly.
And that was kind of the moment where I feel like SDFC Bros was, we got the ball rolling a little bit.
100%.
We made, a lot of connections that day, met a lot of friends and everything like that. We met Tyler Heaps that day, Mikey Vadas. So we really
kind of... Mikey Vadas told us he knew who we were, so we knew better,
Yeah, so that was the day he got inaugurated as an SDFC step bro.
Yes.
So what were you kind of thinking about going back to Novo, kind of vibes like that?
Yeah, it was really nice. I mean, we've been going through a lot of different watch parties, different places. We were kind of waiting for that Novo one. We knew it was going to happen. They've been doing a lot of events there and stuff, but it was really nice. I know that they put the event to more inside and still open the outside, but then had some inside. But it was just really nice to be out there. And again, like you said, the San Diego weather was just perfect.
Yeah.
And it was just a good experience, a good full circle moment again to be able to just sit there and watch a game. And I remember the first Chrome Ball tour was right there. Then the store was inaugurated there. Yeah. Then it was the draft, and so it was just a really, really, really great day, I think.
Yeah, it was cool going back there, and we actually went live before the game, around like an hour before the game. So if you guys tune into the live, make sure you guys comment down below. I know who you are.
Right.
I know who you are if you guys tuned into the live. So make sure you guys let me know in the comment section below.
We're definitely gonna want to keep doing a little more lives.
Yeah. If you guys like the Instagram lives, make sure you guys leave a like or leave a comment to know. Just lets us know if we're doing some good content.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. And,
bless you.
No. Yeah. Just tune into those lives. It's the perfect time where we can interact with everybody. And if you ever see us on live and you're actually at a watch party, come say hi. We got some people in there as well too. And
then same thing in the vlogs. If you guys want to be in the vlogs as well, more than happy to let you guys be in it. But getting back into the game, we went into this one with the same lineup last week versus Dallas, with the exception of Mighton, who isn't 100% injured, right? He was on the questionable list, which I think he should be back for the next game, hopefully. If not this weekend game versus Kansas City. But we'll get into that later. But getting into this game, it kind of took San Diego a while for us to kind of get into this one and properly establish ourselves in this match. I know you had a lot of, comments earlier on this season. You guys will see in the vlog, but you had a lot of comments in the early stages of this game. What were you kind of thinking about, the first couple minutes going into this one?
Yeah, I mean, going into the game, we obviously knew it was going to be a defensive game. The lineup, again, I didn't like it because I was really, 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 really 100% loving the Mighton lineup. I think today's game showed us that. I think that lineup is solid, but there definitely needs to be changes, maybe halfway through the game or something like that. But Valakari can't be playing that role the entire game. And I understand that going into this game, it worked itself out. It was good. We played a different game. But yeah, the first half of the game was just a little bit boring and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you're right. We played the game that we needed to play. Defensively, we were a little sloppy. We were letting St. Louis do a lot of chances. They were playing on our half for a little bit in the first half. But after that, it wasn't too bad, and I really I ended up enjoying it towards the later half and kind of saw your vision. And sometimes we're gonna get lost in that like attack. But I mean, that Saturday, San Diego showed that they're a versatile team.
Right.
They don't have to always be attacking, and they can make a chance after that. And I think my only fear was how many times we've seen these teams, and maybe if it was a better team, St. Louis, then it was a different tactic. But how many times we've seen these teams, we play that defensive game or we play a little like less attacking, and then we get scored on, and then we just get demolished afterwards. That didn't happen this game, so luckily St. Louis doesn't have the best attacking, even though they beat Dallas 5-0, but against us they couldn't really do much.
Yeah, no, I mean, humbly, I'm gonna disagree. I think the defense did really good. I want to give a big shout out to Bombino.
Right,
I feel
100%.
like he was probably one of the players in the defense that I was really kind of looking at and watching, especially because from a standpoint where it's like you're away from home, right? Our away form isn't the greatest, right? But I think this was a moment where it's like we really had to kind of muster up some courage and really play a solid defensive game. So I really want to give some credit to Bombino because just it kind of slips my mind that he's only 18.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he already has like this like courage to have like that defense. And I mean, look, man, I don't want to, keep pushing this narrative of, Italians and defending, but man, this shit's in our blood, man.
Right,
and it's
100%.
like, I just see Bombino game in and game out, and he's just getting better and better. And I know, Negri is, your guy. You kind of prefer him maybe a little bit more. But for me, it's going to be really hard for Negri to kind of get back into this team when you have a guy like Bombino playing the way he is. And not only that, but the rest of the defense as well. I feel like, when we played RSL, right, back in San Diego, right, at home, right, he had that mistake and, we're kind of, making some criticisms from him. But I think since then, he's really bounced back and he's really kind of came to his own. And then obviously nothing needs to be said about McNair and McVay. Just two solid defenders, and just every single game that keeps going, you see their chemistry get even more better every single game. So I really want to credit the defense, because that for me is the thing that I'm going to harp this team on the most this season.
Exactly.
And, throughout the history of San Diego FC is the defense. So that's for me is a big priority going forward. But in terms of kind of like how I wanted the lineup to be like, I do agree with you how you were saying about Valakari, right? Where he has that characteristic, and we were watching the highlights right before this, where it's like in the instances where Iloski had the ball, right? And instead of, turning onto a goal, Valakari probably would have held up the play and maybe looked for a pass in front of him. So I think I do like Valakari in certain instances. I think, though, in games going forward, I think we do need a change, and I think we need someone of a more kind of profile of a number 9, a traditional number 9, which I really liked Iloski into this game, and we'll get into that later. But going into the kind of thoughts on like the first half, I think we did play a little conservative, but I think that's the game we needed to play, right? So I think going forward, I think the game plan was perfect, right? I said this was the kind of tactical game I wanted to see, and I think the tactics were on display, right? We had to be patient, we had to be compact, and we had to be confident in our abilities in defending, and that's where 100%. I really was, crediting the defense in that instance. So at the time of the game, St. Louis, they had the second best defense in the West, and you have to take that into account, right? Just based off of how that first half was playing out. So kind of going into that second half, what were you kind of wanting more of San Diego, or what did you kind of want to see in the second half going forward?
Yeah, I think because they were playing so we know them as the most defensive team. I just wanted to see San Diego go in there and attack more, because we have the team to do that. But again, to your credit, I get that. Like we played a more conservative game, which is okay, and it happens from time to time. But like I said, the biggest thing is just like for me, it's only worked this one time against Dallas, and so it's just really scary because we've gone into games where we do play more conservative and we're not attacking as much, and then the other team scores a goal, and then we go back into like now we're chasing, and it could have happened this game. Our defense hasn't been the greatest. Maybe in this game it was, and a lot better. But in other instances, we played conservative, and then our defense just cracks, and then we get a scored on, and then it cracks more, and then now we're playing an uphill battle. Luckily, again, St. Louis didn't have the ability to get through us this game, so our conservative effort worked. But going forward, like it just really depends. Are we able to play this conservative against a team who's going to be attacking more and who is going to make? Because they had chances, St. Louis did, but like when they did have them, when we're playing a team that's actually going to capitalize on those chances, how are we going to play? Right. And it worked, and I understand the vision, and I get that. It just fearful for the next few games.
Yeah, I hear. I think just for me, it's like I think when you kind of look at it, right, St. Louis being the most defensive team, I think we kind of had to play into that a little bit. So
100%.
we had to play a little bit of defense as well, and then we had to hit out on the counterattack. And I think that's kind of the whole kind of game plan was going into this game, whereas it's like we did have to stick into those moments where, you know, we had to, you know, just pull up our boots and really defend in this game. And I mean, I'm just looking at the stats right now, but I do remember at the time when we were kind of talking during the game, it was St. Louis had like 9 shots, but they only had 1 on target.
Yeah,
so
right.
it's like, yeah, they can have as many shots as they want, you know, on the goal, right? But it matters if it's on target or not.
Right.
So it's like, for me, it's like as long as we're kind of disrupting that kind of attacking momentum for St. Louis, that's all that matters to me. So it's like they can have 20 shots, but if 1 or 2 are on target, I could care less because I have that trust in not only the defense, but in CJ Dos Santos as well. So I think going forward with that, in the second half, right, not much happened in the beginning, but until Milan Iloski came in, and he made a massive difference
100%.
in this game, coming in for Valakari and just being a proper presence up top, being that threat going forward. And I mean, again, we watched the highlights again, and you just see what Milan, right, does in those moments where, you know, push comes to shove, when he needs to make something happen, right? That ball is coming into him, and he just, you know, turns on straight
not
to
even get
goal.
a touch, just a cut in there.
Just a straight up touch, and it
No
only
touch.
No touch.
Just
He scored on the first shot in it, or on the first touch in it. Yeah. So it only took him 12 minutes to score. After that, St. Louis, they were passing around the back a little bit, and San Diego's pressure, man, that's just the right to dream style put right at display right there, just pressing and forcing a mistake out the back, and Iloski does well to bag in his chance.
Right, no, and I think that's it. You just see in that second half, once Valakari comes in, and again, no shot to him. I just think we need to play him in a different role.
I agree.
Clearly,
I agree.
But again, you see that and the game, and again, I get Mikey's Vada vision. He knew once he made that sub, we were going to be playing more attacking, and towards that point where he did put him in, we needed to start shifting from conservative to now we have to score goals. And Iloski came in and showed that, one, I deserve to be in a starting position. If Ivarton's not going to be and still going to be injured for a while, then I deserve to be there before anybody else. Before Dreyer. You know, in that center. I just feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously with Dreyer there and then Maitin, you know what I'm saying? Because that was that formation that we were going to trying to go into. But he goes, no, you don't need to do that. We can still have Dreyer on the right wing. I can play that striker position. So he comes in, he shows, and again, just complete striker mentality. Complete striker mentality. One of, and again, what we talked about, Valakari would have stopped.
Held up the ball.
It, and which we kept seeing throughout the game. Like, it's just like, let's take everything and then pass. Iloski comes in and he goes, nope, I'm going to do something that, again, we have not seen this team do a lot. I'm going to take a risk myself and do it. Which is, again, a pure
striker instinct.
Striker instincts. And he, like, again, makes that turn and takes a shot on ball. Which we've been asking for through and through in this season is we need somebody who's willing and able to score those goals and wants to take a shot. And honestly, I think Iloski, as soon as he got that ball, said, I don't care. I'm not going to look left or right. I'm going to take the shot. And what happened? It came through and it happened. And shout out to him because he went them.
I did a little shush. That was kind of cool.
Quiet down those fans. If you see on our Instagram, we have a quote on there. But again, just quiet down those fans and let them know, like, we're not a team to be pushed around still.
Yeah, certainly. And, you know, 2 goals in 2 games for Iloski, but it's back-to-back games, right? Exactly. So it's like, I think when you kind of go into halftime, right, Mikey Vadas, just whatever, you know, the game plan was, I think to your point where it's like, okay, now we need to be a little bit more threatening in the offensive phase of the game. And I think, you know, with Iloski kind of coming in and having that presence up top, it was really easy to kind of have a reference point up top to kind of know that, okay, I know Milan is going to, you know, play on the turn and he's going to, you know, take those chances. And I mean, he had a couple other shots too. I think there was one that just whizzed past the post, and it was almost going top bins, right? So it was pretty close there. But from there, or what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, like, from there after that, you just consistently see San Diego just, the whole game opens up and San Diego just becomes a threat.
The floodgates opened and San Diego was pressuring, creating loads of opportunities. And then that one Godoy chance off of the crossbar that was really close, and a couple other chances, but the nail in the coffin was that Dreyer chance, right? Just once again forcing another mistake out the back from St. Louis. And we were watching the highlights right before, and you see, Dreyer has the ball, and there's 2 St. Louis defenders in the box already. and one of them, instead of going pressure Dreyer, man just goes in the box and just leaves him wide open. He's like, all right, I'm going to have a go. And he bags it 2-0.
Exactly. And just to your point, I think I was reading, obviously, San Diego Nation's analysis before this.
You're his number one favorite.
Yeah, I really like it. But to his point, if you look closely, Dreyer does make an attempt to look like he's going to pass the ball. So again, in your quick thinking, maybe that defender looked and he says, okay, this guy's not going to take a shot.
Fairs.
Let me run in and put pressure. But again, like he ended up saying was, Dreyer looked like he had eyes on shots no matter what he was going to shoot. But quick thinking, smart thinking, let me pretend like I'm going to go inside.
Yeah, certainly.
Knocked everybody out of their thought process and then ends up bagging that goal.
Yeah.
Again, and again, we go back to seeing a Dreyer who's hungry, who wants to fight. And again, one of the biggest things that we can continue to see is that Dreyer's not going to let any opportunity go.
Yeah.
And he's going to make that extra effort to run. And again, it could have been a simple mess up that, again, at that time, a sluggish player would have just been like, no, I'm not going to run after that. But you see Dreyer run all the way, commitment, work rate, and bag that goal for us.
Yeah.
And then again, just consistent attacking. And then, we get to the 2-1 at that point.
Yeah, you're probably thinking of like the Dreyer of old, right? Kind of in the middle of the season, right? Kind of post LA Galaxy and post RSL away from home, right? He kind of struggled a little bit, and I think it was maybe confidence or something was going on, maybe just kind of adjusting to the team. But
or
now,
having Chucky come into
Chucky coming back into the team and everything like that. But just in these last couple of games, man, he's just been second to none, and I feel like he's been one of the most important players just in every aspect of the team, right? We were talking about his work rate, how he's constantly, just running up and down, kind of even just swapping wings, right? He's normally right winger, but in that second goal, right, you see him move over to the left-hand side. So it's like big up Anders Dreyer, man. He's been one of those guys that is really important for us, and it's like, man, it's going to be really interesting to kind of see how much more he develops within the San Diego team going forward. So, and then like how you were saying, St. Louis kind of scores at the end, but I think it was well over. The game was well over.
But we do gotta figure out those set pieces because it seems lately that a set piece is something that another team can take advantage of, and we're kind of getting lost in. So we just gotta, I guess, nail that down a little bit. I get it towards the end of the game. We're not gonna be putting that pressure, but
they scored at the 97th,
but again,
91st minute.
Just one of the biggest things is San Diego so far. Those set pieces are kind of a little dangerous going into it. So as long as we can take those down, but you're right. 91 minutes. There was not a lot of pressure done after that. Even after that goal, we kind of knew we had it in the bag. There was no way they were gonna come through. Thankfully, Dreyer scored that goal, and a
little nail in the coffin to kind of give us a little room to make a mistake. But even then, I did want to kind of just touch upon Oscar Verhoeven, right? One of the new signings. Once again, he comes in and he puts in a shift. And I think when you have a young kind of dynamic fullback like him, right, on the right hand side, and you got Bambino on the left, right? That's just something that is really encouraging going forward in these next couple games, right? To see where Oscar Verhoeven's development is going to be at going forward. And we score a goal when he's on, so it's like, that has to mean something, right?
Well, I think just to your credit as well, too, like what you're saying, we have Luca Bambino who's on loan. We have...
I think we'll buy Luca Bambino.
Yeah, of course. And then we have Oscar Verhoeven, too. Sure. We have Velosky who came on loan, too. It is a testament to this, which we talked about from the very beginning of the season, is this right to dream style going to work? Is it going to fix? It's crazy to see 3 players who have come in loan and are able to just lock in.
That's a great point.
Whether if it's Mikey Vada's coaching ability or not, the fact that it could just be that, or is it the right to dream style that these younger players? Because we see Tomas Sangal doesn't sometimes fits in or doesn't. These older players seem to not fit in it. With Reyes coming in here and nothing like that. What is it about the right to dream style that we're doing that these young players, is it the ability that they're ready, they're hungry to play? But again, we've seen a lot of football. It is crazy to see that these young players are coming in and just able to just jump and be hungry in this style.
Yeah.
And I think we have ourselves so far a winner in this right to dream style, and knowing that we're going to have even more youth academy going into it, I think it really starts to show and prove that this is kind of the way, and what might be the way through MLS going forward.
Yeah, certainly. That's a brilliant point that you make, because it's like every single player, rather young player that you see, they slip in like a glove. And it's like, like to your point, and it's very encouraging going forward to kind of see, okay, once we kind of get this youth academy, start kicking and going and everything like that, who's gonna be that first player to kind of break through to the team and be like, okay, this is born and bred San Diego from the youth team and so on and so forth.
Right.
So that's a brilliant point, actually.
Yeah,
That's a great point going forward. So yeah, we come away with this away W, the first one since RSL, that 3-1 back in March 8th. We were at Elching going for that one. So very long time since we got an away dub, but a much needed win, right? We're kind of playing catch up from those points that we lost in April. So now 2 back-to-back W's, right? And, we're kind of getting into that, point of the season where it's like every point matters. And it's like now it's like maybe we can start thinking about playoffs and, where do we kind of go from there? But before we kind of get into all that, let's do match ratings. So I want you to go first.
Yeah.
Match ratings. What are we saying?
So, I mean, obviously going into it, had mixed bags, first half, this and that.
Yeah.
I think second half, we fell kind of into that. Obviously, I want to see a little bit more attack, but honestly, through and through, I saw a solid San Diego at the end of the day. I don't see anything that was too terrible off the bat, so I think I was like a 5.5, 6 almost. It wouldn't be too bad of a shout. I don't think we're at 7, 8 territory, but it was a good, and we came out with a win. I think it's an average game, an average match, and we had to win it regardless. So
Yeah, I'll say a 6.5
right.
for me. I think there was a lot of great things that we saw, and for me, I'm kind of just looking at it defensively, right? Where it's like you're playing a defensive team like St. Louis, and I wanted to kind of see how San Diego kind of hits back in their defensive game as well. And I think we nullified a lot of chances from St. Louis, right? Yeah, they had loads of shots, but I'm kind of looking at those shots that were on target,
exactly.
And I think we dealt with them well, minus that one goal that we let in, right? I think it like hit off the post and then it bounced back on
100%.
a couple players. But regardless of the fact is, I was really happy about the defensive performance in this game, especially because we were away from home and all things considered. But yeah, I'm gonna say 6.5 for me.
Yeah, not bad.
So now this is SDFC Bros first. We got a double match preview, right? We got this game this Wednesday, in 2 days' time from the time we're recording. So we got that game versus Colorado. So we'll get into that one first. Colorado, 9th place. They're winless in their last 4 games, and their last win was actually against us.
Right.
At their home. So they come to San Diego. And what's kind of like the mentality of the San Diego team going forward? And what do you kind of worry about? Are you worried about Colorado going to this game?
I'm not really worried about Colorado, but again, we're coming from a game on this last Saturday. We're going into a game on Wednesday, and then a game again this Saturday. So that's, you have like 4 days of rest entirely, or 3. That's a little hard. That's hard on the body. At least we're home, but travel time, everything like that. It's a lot of games, a lot of pressure. Do we go into this Colorado game, maybe looking for not looking for a loss, but maybe to tie, put in our younger players to save up rotation for our Saturday game against
Sporting Kansas,
or do we want to be Colorado and then save ourselves for Saturday?
Right.
It just really depends on how the vision goes. Again, this is why we're not coaches, but it's a hard task.
Yeah.
It's something hard that it's just up to them to see how they're going to going forward.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really hard to judge the team in these 2 games going forward.
Yeah.
Even if we do a post-game analysis, I can't be upset if we do lose as much as I want to, just because it's just really hard.
Sure.
So those back-to-back games are just killer. Obviously, I want to come out winning both.
Right.
But if we don't, I'd rather win the Colorado game than the Saturday game.
Okay, fair enough. Fair play. I think we need to get points regardless.
Right.
I think this is going to be a big test for San Diego because, like how you said, we're playing 3 games in the span of a week.
Right.
We played Saturday, we played Wednesday, and we played Saturday again. So 3 games in a week, that's a lot. And like how you said, that's a lot for the body. But I think maybe you kind of rotate a little bit. Maybe we do see a Negri coming in, right? I think maybe we see a Oscar Van Hoven.
Now we have the depth for it, which is great.
Yeah, and maybe you kind of give that chance for Iloski to start in this game, right? I know he came off the bench and kind of played a little under half an hour, but I think regardless, or maybe you go Tomas Angal up top, and you never know, or maybe if Mayen is fit, then you throw him into this game. But for me, I'm gonna say is I'm not really worried about Colorado just because they are winless in their last 4, so they're not really in the best form right now. So I think kind of going into that, and if we kind of play our cards right and kind of play into their weaknesses, right, and we kind of really capitalize, and we have seen them, and that first game that we played when we were in Colorado, I think it was more so we lost that game, they didn't beat us.
Right. But
So-
I mean, Colorado is going to be coming to San Diego looking to prove a point and say you guys didn't just win for no reason. We did beat you. And that might be a little, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That might be a little tougher competition than it's going to be against Kansas completely. So,
Yeah, so I'm gonna say, so let's do score predictions
Yeah.
for this. So I'm gonna say I think we win. I think we go another 2-1.
Okay.
I think we score goals. I think we kind of do our thing to kind of dominate in our style, and I think we come away with the W in this one. What are we saying?
yeah, I think we tie 1-1. I think if we get that goal early or they get that goal early, we're just either looking to tie, not put too much pressure on ourselves to go.
Yeah.
Hopefully we win, like I said, and we do have the depth to really, like you said, to win both games. But again, I think it's just hard strain. I see a 1-1.
Okay. All right, fair
Yeah.
enough. And then our next game, right, that Saturday game and the weekend, Sporting Kansas City, they're 12th place, and they lost their last game versus Portland 1-0. But get this, we played the second best defense versus St. Louis. Now we're playing the second worst defense in the league, right in front of LA Galaxy, which, man, 7-0, that is...
Terrible.
You got a touchdown stored on you guys. So, but regardless of the fact is...
And a kick.
and a field goal. But yeah, so the second worst defense in the league. So for me, I think we're gonna run right in this one, to be honest. And I think it depends on the momentum. If we carry that through the Colorado game, right? If we do catch a W, then I think we're just gonna be smelling blood in the water versus Kansas City. So for me, maybe I'm very optimistic. I know I'm the optimistic side of the SDFC bros, but I think we do get another win here. I think we get another win, and I think this is going to be the one where it may be similar to FC Dallas, where we just boom. 5 booms, guys.
Right.
So what are we saying against Sporting Kansas City?
So you're saying 5-0?
I'll say 3-0.
Okay, right. Against Sporting Kansas City, I think we surely win that game. I think we'll play a little bit less as attacking, but I think we can come out with a 2-0 for sure. Yeah, I think 2-0 easily. But we'll just see. Hopefully, like I said, my vision and my hope is that against Colorado we play our best players forward, knowing that against Kansas City we could probably play our least amount, but we still have enough attack to destroy and go through that. And I believe in our tactics and our vision to do that. But we'll see, and I think 3-0 going. I'm 2-0 for sure.
2-0? Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, so guys, let us know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think San Diego is going to go 3 W's in a row in 3 games? That's going to be something that's really important, because then at that point, then maybe we do make up those points that we lost in April. So
exactly.
Right? So I think that's really encouraging going forward. But if you kind of just look at the table right now, right, we were kind of talking about San Diego. I think we were in like 6th or 7th place at one point, but now we are in 4th place, and we are pretty comfortable. I think, Seattle Sounders, they're like right below us, but I think after that, it starts to kind of dip off a little bit. But then, we're only 2 points off of 2nd place, and then Vancouver are just running away with
100%.
the West right now. But regardless of the fact is, I think San Diego is in the position where I think is indicative of how our season has been going. So I think 4th place is probably a fair analysis of kind of how the season's been going. So what have you kind of just been feeling San Diego right now? I think we're a little less than halfway through the season. So what do you kind of feel like right now?
Yeah, I mean, we got those three losses. I think it was having to restructure and everything like that. So can't be too mad. I mean, at the time, it was like it's over for us. But clearly, we saw that Mikey Vadas was able to come back in and do those. I think these next 2 games will also prove that we're still back in form.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna just stay steady for quite a bit, and we'll just wait to see how the rest of the league reacts to their games and stuff like that. But again, you do see Minnesota United, who's picking up steam.
Yeah.
You do see some in LAFC, who's also picking up steam, and they're also in contention to go to the
Club World
Cup too. So I mean, it's a little shaky. We don't know for a fact, but I think San Diego's still holding strong, and it's just probably one of the best that you could expect from a team that just started.
Yeah.
And a team that everybody said we were going to finish at bottom place, and look at you bullies, because you don't know anything about soccer. Because look at LA Galaxy.
Yeah, LA Galaxy in the mud, but yeah. Good point. I feel like a lot of people are kind of counting San Diego out. Maybe how are we gonna favor in the West? But I think we're holding our own. I think we're doing well. Quite frankly, I think we're doing a lot better than at least I thought we were gonna be. I thought in our season prediction, right? We said if we can get 7th to 8th place, we'll take that. But now I think we're punching above our weight. But I think that's just a kind of a credit of what the management is doing, what the staff is doing, and obviously what the players are producing on the pitch as
100%.
well. So guys, let us know what you think in the comment section below. What do you guys think about these next couple fixtures? What do you think about this game versus St. Louis? And how do you make San Diego FC's season going on right now? Little before halfway of the season. But Carlos, this is kind of your time. Do you got anything else to say or anything like that?
Yeah, I just, we've been so back and forth lately and everything like that. But honestly, I think after this last game, after getting an away game, which I think is
needed.
Much needed. These away games are just as fun as the home games and I think just a little bit closer because you get to be with the fans and experience what it is to be in San Diego and watch these games. And I think something that just like growing up is the most important part. Being able to go to a bar, being able to sit with your friends and family and just experience that closeness together is just perfect. And getting an away game win is just an amazing moment. But it's just, we just keep showing up. We keep doing your job, San Diego FC. Keep doing your job, San Diego, and keep supporting. I think countless times at these away games we get a little chat and we get a little talk a little bit more, but these fans are so excited for us and so behind your back and just ready to keep attacking. So like I said, you guys do your job, you guys do that, and we as fans are going to do the exact same thing and support you behind your back. You guys have a tough game on Wednesday, and then you got a tough game on Saturday. And look at us complaining because we get to watch 2 games in a week. We got to work on Wednesday, but we will make sure San Diego, as long as you are there, 100%, giving 100%, we'll be there in the stands, giving 100%, supporting you Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever it is, okay? And even Fridays.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, well said, Carlos. So guys, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on TikTok. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao ragazzi.